I'm on. Hey, shalom, shalom, everybody. Shabbat shalom. You know, we're going through the Traditions of Men series. Today's really about the church building, the structure. It's also about the two seeds. So, if I say two seeds, what does that bring to mind?
You talking about in Genesis?
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, right.
The seed is.
There you go.
The
Yep.
seed of the woman, the seed of something.
There we go. Okay. So we're in the same vein. So we're just gonna go to Matthew 13, right? And Jeremiah, you mind reading? 24 through 30.
Another parable put he forth unto them, saying, The kingdom of heaven is likened unto a man which sowed good seed in his field.
Who was that man that sowed that seed? Spiritually speaking, who will be the being or the man, right? It would be the Son of Man or the Most High, right? That's sowing this good seed, right? Okay.
For while men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat, and went his way.
So then these tares come up, right?
Yeah.
So that's two seeds then, right? So you're seeing two seeds, right? Righteous, good and evil, like she said. Okay, keep going.
But when the blade was sprung up and brought forth fruit, then appeared the tares also.
So yeah, that's right. Keep going. Read the next one.
So the servants of the householder came and said unto him, Sir, didst not thou sow good seed in thy field, from whence then hath it tares?
So the servants, which are us, going, hey man, Most High, you know you're good.
Yeah, well, we got good and evil.
Yeah, what going in, right?
What if you sow good and evil at the same time?
Right. So let's just keep going. We're gonna talk about two seeds here in a second.
He said unto them, An enemy hath done this. The servant said unto him, Wilt thou then that we go and gather them up?
So you want us to go ahead and take them out, get rid of them?
Yeah,
Okay.
tear them all up.
What does he say?
But he said, Nay.
Now, isn't that kind of strange?
It's a choice.
Like, why wouldn't he want us to get rid of them, but to take them up? Why does he want them to grow with us, with the
So
good
we have a
seed?
choice between good and evil.
So you picking it up? Okay, good.
But he said, Nay, lest while ye gather up the tares, ye root up also the wheat with them.
So
good and evil come together.
right, because if you're trying to pick up the bad ones, you're gonna mess around and pick up the good ones. So we just gotta wait until a specific time. What time is it?
All right. Let both grow together until the harvest.
Harvest time,
Yeah.
right? So even right now, this will be considered the harvest time, right? Especially in October. So keep going.
And in the time of the harvest, I will say to the reapers, Gather ye together first the tares, and bind them in bundles to burn them, but gather the wheat into my barn.
So what is verse 30 telling you is going to happen?
Yeah, it's the harvest time.
Right,
So that's the first thing.
right,
And that's when you separate the good from the evil.
right. And what happens to the evil?
You gotta burn them up.
Because the first time in the age of man, the Most High destroyed the earth with water.
The flood, yeah.
And then he destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah with
Fire, hell and brimstone.
Eliyahu or Elijah sent down fire from heaven.
Yeah.
The next time the Messiah comes, he's going to come with fire. So this is showing what's going to happen in the end, right?
Yeah.
So about these two seeds, we're talking about good and evil, righteous, unrighteous, wicked, a just man, all these beautiful words, right? But we're living in a time to where, like you were talking about, it's a choice. There's so much stuff happening that we've got to make this choice because, like we talked about last time, we have to make our calling and election sure. You got to know that you know that you know, and especially us being the men, we got to show our families like, no, this is the way.
Yeah.
We are followers of the way. Believers are the way. Like the time is now. We don't have time to be like thinking to wait because there's too much stuff going on. Because in the end, these things are going to get destroyed by fire. And with everything going on in the world, especially with the Israeli and Hamas and Gaza conflict, there's a certain man or man that we got to be. So I know you weren't here for it, and I know you were here for it. But these two seeds, there's a son of man, there's a son of perdition. There's Jacob, there's Esau. Like no matter what, like even like people in our lives, a lot of times It's, you know, we're the good seed, and then they're the other seed. But like, our habit is us making our choice, if that makes sense. What we do, what we speak, how we act habitually is the choice that we're making. That's what Moses was trying to get us to understand, that, hey, y'all better start choosing this now. Choose life, because you get a blessing or a curse. That's two seeds. Everything's about two seeds. That's why the kingdom got split into two kingdoms, northern and southern kingdoms. That's two seeds, right? And when the northern kingdom split, they were the wicked seed, and the Yahudim, or the southern kingdom, we were the righteous seed, right? Then we fell, right? That's what you have to pay attention to, like the prodigal son, all that stuff. Everything in the book's about two seeds. You start looking like, man, everything's about making a choice, right? Right or wrong, like it's two seeds. It's two seeds, because what happens with the seed?
It grows.
Because after you plant that thing, you water it, it grows, right? So I'm trying to show you that there's a distinction being made, right, with the two seeds, which we know that.
You can grow both of them, yeah.
So I'm trying to show you that the church is a seed, and the assembly is also a seed. Christ is coming back, but so is the Messiah. Two different manner, speaking of spirits of men, are coming. And if we can't discern that, we're going to get caught up in this strong delusion. So, exactly, right? So I know you were here when we went over, but Bam wasn't here. So, Bam, if you don't mind, we're going to read about this Mazzini letter again, because it's on me again to go over this again. And I know you weren't here, so go ahead. Well, if it'll go to the next slide.
Albert Pike letter to Mazzini. The Illuminati plan for three world wars.
Goodness, boy.
No, I can't say that.
Tongue twister.
World. I never played the W word like that.
Goodness,
On 1871. The following is a letter that speculation claimed that Albert Pike wrote to, what's that name?
Giuseppe
Giuseppe Mazzini
Mazzini.
in 1871.
So that's a long time ago, right? Because you were here when we went over this, right? So I'm not going over all the information, just this letter, right? Again, okay, keep on.
Regarding a conspiracy involving three world wars that were planned in the attempt to take over the world. The Pike letter to Giuseppe Mazzini was on display in the British Museum Library in London until 1977.
So there was something around the time frame. Maybe people were paying attention and they were being made aware of this, so they had to take this out of circulation.
Yeah,
Be-
once everybody find out.
Right, because they didn't think that people would actually be like, wait a minute, they're actually going by this blueprint. Okay, keep going.
Make a fuss about it.
The letter has been claimed by many internet sites to reside in the British Library in London, which denies the letter exists.
Shalom, shalom.
Giuseppe Mazzini was an Italian revolutionary leader of the mid-1800s, as well as the director of the Illuminati.
So what is the Illuminati?
That's the secret society.
Right, that's behind this, governing everything.
Controlling everything.
And it's controlled by the Jesuits, right? The Jesuits. Okay, keep going.
Albert Pike, historical Masonic figure, was a 33rd degree Freemason, occultist, Grand Master, and creator of the southern jurisdiction of the Masonic Scottish Rite Order. Right? Scary. Following are apparently extracts, right? Extracts from the letter showing how three world wars have been planned by for many generations. The first one must be brought about in order to permit the Illuminati to overthrow the power of the
Czars.
czars in Russia.
So hopefully next time we're going to deal with this word Czar and Caesar next time, not today. Keep going.
And of making that country a fortress. What's that word?
Atheistic.
Atheistic community.
Communism.
It's an atheist.
Communism.
What's that word?
Divergences.
See, I ain't never seen this word before. The divergence is caused by the agents.
Agentor or agents. Yep.
The agents of the Illuminati between the British and Germanic empires will be used to foment this war. At the end of the war, communism will be built, and used in order to destroy the other government and in order to weaken their religion.
So that, because that's what happened in World War I, right?
You think I can't read?
So that's literally what happened,
I can't read that.
I know, in World War One. All right, now go to World War II.
The Second World War must be prevented by taking advantage of the differences.
Go ahead.
Of the differences between the fascists, right,
Fascists, yeah.
and the political Zionists.
Now that's now the state of Israel, the Zionists, right?
Oh, Zion good, man. I be hearing.
Mount Zion is good. Zionism is not good.
Okay. The war must be brought about to the Naziism, right?
The
Naziism. Naziism is destroyed and that the political Zionism be strong enough to institute a sovereign state of Israel in Palestine.
That's what we have now. That's what we've been dealing with for over 70 years, right? That state of Israel. Okay. That's what the Second World War was all about, and they had already planned it, right?
World
Okay.
War II. Gotcha. During the Second World War, international communism must become strong enough in order to balance
Christendom.
Christendom,
Mhm.
uh, which would be then restrained and held in check until the time when we would need it for the final social
Cataclysm.
Hey, World War II was about Germany trying to take over.
But what happened after World War II?
Yeah, yeah.
So the overall plan was to get the Zionists in the state of Israel. That like they're planning 100 years ahead of time.
Yeah.
You know, go ahead.
I probably should Google this, but World War I started because of the assassination of Franz Ferdinand. Franz Ferdinand was he not German?
No, he was in France.
Franz, F-R-A-N-Z.
Ferdinand, yeah. He was over in French, bro. He was French.
I'll tell you
Was he a
something.
German in France or was he
Not
French?
He
Could
was
be.
French.
I don't know.
He was French.
Did you have another question with that, or?
Negative.
Okay. So let's get to this third war, because this is the one that we're going to be living with in our lifetime, right?
They got time time.
The Third World War must be fomented by taking advantage.
Is that mic on?
No,
He
no.
keeps turning it
The
off.
Third World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences caused by a agentor of the Illuminati between the political Zionists and the leaders of the Islamic world. The world must be...
So wait, read that again, because did y'all catch what that just said?
Yeah.
Because y'all weren't here for that. Y'all weren't, so.
The Third World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences caused by the agentor of the Illuminati between the political Zionists and the leaders of the Islamic world.
So what's going on with Israel, Hamas, and Gaza right now?
They fighting over their differences.
Exactly. Okay, keep going. Keep going.
All right. The world must be conducted in such a way that Islam, the Muslim Arabic world, and political Zionism, the state of Israel, mutually destroy each other.
So when this happens, right, after this war, that's what their planned goal is for the end game, right? When this happens, think about all the people that have been seduced by Christianity. The state of Israel gets destroyed. Like the next time when the people go into the land, it's supposed to be, everything's supposed to be good. It's supposed to reign with the Messiah for 1,000 years, right? But if that happens and then the state and the people get destroyed, people are going to lose their minds. Because they're going to be like, oh, it was all a lie. Nothing's true. We got to be rooted. So we have to know these things, right? Again, there's two seeds. Keep going.
Meanwhile, the other nations, once more divided on the issue,
The United States.
Like down, yeah.
on the issue will be constrained to fight to the point of complete physical, moral, spiritual, and economical exhaustion.
So this is what I'm trying to get y'all to understand. Like, this stuff is going to make COVID, that whole pandemic, look like nothing. You're talking about a supply chain collapse. You're talking about an economic collapse. You're talking about actually having to fight a war over here also. You're talking about actually fighting your neighbors. You're talking about it's going to be dangerous. You have to go on raids potentially just to go to a store to even get anything. So we,
Written in the 1800s?
1871.
1871.
Yeah.
It's already like that too. Like if you look like some of the social media videos, like a lot of the religious groups
Yeah.
are at each other's throats right
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
Like, and it's really bad. And I'm like, wow. Even in the states, like they're protesting against each other
Yeah.
See?
within the religion.
You got DC, they got the, what,
I'm glad. So DC, they were pro-Israel,
Yeah.
and then in New York, they were actually pro-Palestine.
Yeah.
So there's already a division,
One hug, right?
Yeah.
like two seeds again, and I'm not gonna get into all of that. But like we gotta pick. That's why it's important for us to stay out of it. For us to make sure that we're doing the things that's pleasing to the Most High. Get on one accord. Understand what we're gonna have to do to survive, and with all our get.
Understand.
We shall unleash the nihilists and the atheists, and we shall provoke a formidable social cataclysm, which in all its horror will show clearly to the nations the effect of absolute atheism, origin of savagery, and of the most bloody turmoil.
Okay, stop right there. So I got a question for y'all. What is a nihilist? Because it said,
I don't know what that is.
have you ever heard of a nihilist before?
Heard of it, but don't remember.
What is it, nihilist?
Either one.
I don't know what that is. I never heard of that.
No, nobody. No, master.
Was it?
What is a nihilist?
A nihilist.
Okay. So Brandon, if you don't mind, hand on the mic. Make sure it's on.
It's on.
Read this.
Wait, I'm turning it off first.
He always does that. Now we know who's been doing that.
A viewpoint that traditional values and beliefs are unfounded and that existence is senseless and useless.
So they're going to unleash these people that thinks that the life in general, there's no point.
Call live, yeah.
They have no hope. They have no savior. They have no source.
So the whole point of it, oh my.
Atheist.
Keep going.
No, they just care about something.
No.
Well, they don't believe in a creator though. They believe that once they die, they're dead.
B, a doctrine that denies any objective ground of truth, and especially of moral truth.
People that don't have objectivity, they're going to unleash these. Like you got to think everything in the media. You got to be paying attention what you're allowing yourself to consume, because this whole age is all about knowledge being increased. It's all about entertainment. So now we got to be paying attention. Like nah, because like these doctrines that y'all are spewing sound like a nihilist, right? Keep going. What else does it say?
2, a doctrine or belief that conditions in the social organization are so bad as to make destruction desirable for its own sake, independent of any constructive program or possibility.
So these people have no hope, and they just want everything to be destroyed. That sounds like the Georgia Guidestones. Get everything down to 500 million people when there's over 8 billion people on Earth, right? So their goal is to unleash these people in the midst of all of this turmoil.
That's gonna mess everything.
Everything.
God.
Everything, right? Okay.
So mind messed up. It's gonna be nuts. We're gonna be arguing with them.
Because when we went over it, like I didn't even go over the definitions of these names of words they put in there. I'm like, wait, what is this?
Yeah.
Let's really like look into it. Let's pay attention, right? Finish that out.
To be capitalized. A program of the 19th century Russian party advocated revolutionary reform and using terrorism and assassination.
All the American movies is always the Russians. The Russians are coming to destroy. Russians. It was just so crazy. I'm like, man, this don't make, look, when I tell you what they have planned, we're not even going to think that they're human. Like, going back to what it said, before I go to let's go to social cataclysm first. Hold on. So what is a cataclysm? Because we know social deals with people and can deal with media, but what's a cataclysm?
Like a collapse of the like utmost degree, like you know.
Read that, Jeremiah.
Cataclysm. 1, flood, deluge. 2, catastrophe. 3, a monumentous and violent event marked by overwhelming upheaval and demolition broadly. An event that brings great changes.
So there's something in this war that's going to happen that's going to be a great cataclysm. We know that the war is going to kill a lot of people, but they got something else planned. Again, it's going to make the pandemic look like it was not. We probably won't even talk about that compared to the stuff we're going to be living through. So we got to make sure that we have the faith in the Most High. We have to. So this walk in, like, especially when we talk about the 2 seeds and everything. So another thing about the 2 seeds is those that have the faith, but those that are, even in faith, there's 2 seeds in faith. What are they?
Doers,
And
hearers.
yes. So which of out of those 2, who's going to be justified? The doers. So in this age, we've got to be the doers, especially as men, especially as leading, because as we lead, our families follow. So, like even in like the quote unquote Christian church, does the church follow Christ?
Oh,
Yes. Why? Because
Tradition.
It's tradition, but it's also because the church is known as the what? The bride of Mashiach or of Christ. Because the woman ain't supposed to follow the man. So we've been following this Christo, this Cretan guy, and we didn't know we're supposed to be following Mashiach, Messiah, right? So again, we have to make our calling and election sure now. So I'm gonna go back real quick. So we went over those definitions, and let's finish this letter out. And read. Yeah, okay. Go ahead.
That everywhere the citizens obliged to defend themselves against the world minority of revolutionaries will exterminate those destroyers of civilization and the multitude disillusioned with Christianity, whose
Deistic.
spirits will from the moment be without compass or direction.
Why would they be without compass or direction, though?
Because they don't know where they're going.
Right, and because the nihilists were released, the atheists were released, the state of Israel is no more. So that means that the fake Messiah, because I know we talked about the Jewish people, like the people of the Sanhedrin are claiming that they've been in talks with the Messiah.
Yeah.
So when all these things fall, what's going to happen?
You're going to be confused, brother.
Okay.
You don't know where you're coming and going.
Okay.
Okay. Anxious for an ideal, but without knowing where to render its adoration, will receive the true light through the universal manifestation of the pure doctrine of Lucifer, brought finally out in the public view.
So a lot of people just think you just have to make it through the world war. This is not like, no. Like, especially when you talk about like this beast system, we don't realize how close we really are.
Yeah.
So, you know, in this small area of Oklahoma, right? Y'all know now with the turnpike, like you can't pay cash no more, right? It's completely cashless.
Yeah.
Like you have to have a pike pass now. You go to places like the BOK Center, you can't use cash there. You have to use a card.
QR code, yeah.
You go, the UK now is doing measures as we speak right now to go completely cashless over there in Europe. So the full implementation of this thing is right on the door.
It's going, yeah. Yeah.
People think we got all kind of time. So I'm saying that to say this, the 8th crusade or holy war has already started. So what has been happening with the Nation of Islam, one of the predominant leaders in the Nation of Islam right now?
Which one? Who you talking about?
Let's just say Louis Farrakhan.
I haven't heard anything.
Do y'all know?
No.
Because I couldn't get the actual court document, but we're going to go, Brandon. I want you to read this, Brandon.
Same thing about same thing about what Elijah Muhammad went through about the multiple kids.
No. Like this is, just turn the mic back on. Turn the mic on. You ready?
This one, yeah. Nation of Islam's Farrakhan sues ADL SWC for anti-Semitism accusations.
So-
Farrakhan claims that he is suing for First Amendment violations and for defamation and seeking $4.8 billion in compensation.
So, do y'all know what the ADL is?
No. I don't.
Forgot.
Okay.
Yes, I knew, but forgot.
Okay,
All
Brent.
blues.
Okay, Brandon, keep reading.
Lord.
Louis Farrakhan, Minister for the Nation of Islam, has announced his intentions to sue the Anti-Defamation League.
Have you ever heard of the Anti-Defamation League? Okay.
That's a release.
CEO of the ADL.
Look at the last names on these people.
CEO Jonathan Greenblatt, Simon Wiesenthal, Center SWC, Simon Wiesenthal Center, and the SWC Director Abraham Cooper in a post made on the Nation of Islam's website last week. Farrakhan claims that he is suing the above parties for First Amendment violations and defamation. Farrakhan is seeking $4.8
Right. So,
billion in compensation.
so again, so do y'all know what the Anti-Defamation League is? Y'all don't.
Well,
Okay.
y'all think about defamation.
Okay. Jamal, read this.
ADL, who? Come on, bro.
Who we are, ADL, is the leading anti-hate organization in the world.
How are they the leading anti-hate organization in the world? Most of us have never even heard of it.
Yeah. So what about the NAACP? They don't have the NAACP?
Okay, keep going.
Founded in 1913, its timeless mission is to stop the defamation of the Jewish people
Oh.
and to secure justice and fair treatment to all.
So if it's for all, why is it for the Jewish people? Now that's a little oxymoronic. No, I'm just saying.
What-
Go ahead, Brent.
I have a question, I need a mic.
Yeah, you need the mic. Give him the mic.
Founded in 1913,
Mhm.
to stop the defamation of the Jewish people. The Jewish-ish people were not so-called persecuted till, what, 36, 30, 35? That's
Mhm.
when Hitler came into power?
They be planning stuff way ahead in time. Way ahead. Way ahead. So it's for all, but it's specifically for the Jewish people. But it's the leading organization for anti-hate in the world. But most people have never even heard of it.
That's cap.
Okay.
Alright. Today, ADL continues to fight all forms of anti-Semitism and bias, using innovation and partnership to drive impact. A global leader in combating anti-Semitism, counter-extremism, and battling bigotry wherever and whenever it happens, ADL works to help protect democracy and ensure a just and inclusive society for all.
Again, but we've never even heard of this place, right? Okay.
Never.
Let's learn a little bit more. Keep reading.
Alright.
Just read about their values.
Our values guide our internal culture and shape the approach we take to our programs and initiatives externally. Confronting anti-Semitism, our founders established ADL based on their Jewish values. We build on their legacy as we speak out on their behalf of all marginalized communities across the country and around the globe.
If it's all countries, why is it specifically about anti-Semitism and Jewish people?
Maybe because it's spread all over the world, maybe, I don't know. This is capital.
Keep reading. Read about have courage.
Courage. We have the courage to speak out against anti-Semitism, extremism, hate and bigotry, discrimination, and injustice, even when we stand alone.
So I have a question for y'all. Are the so-called Jewish people, are they the only Semites?
No.
Sons of Shem, Ike meaning son of? No. Sem had a bang of sons. So this anti-Semitism, it really gets out of context because, anyway, keep going.
So
Keep going.
inclusion. We are committed to inclusion, ensuring that all people are respected and appreciated as valuable members of our community.
Really? Okay. 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 We're going to test that theory.
Okay, respect. We value respect in our work and workplace, acknowledging the humanity in others, even as we put forth different views.
Right.
Next one, collaboration.
Mm-hmm.
We embrace the power of collaboration, recognizing that working together yields gains that could not always be achieved on our own.
So they're about
Helping
standing
each other.
up, about inclusion. It's about respect and
Helping each other
and
with
collab.
collaboration.
Yeah,
Yes.
a great collab, right?
Oh, and integrity.
Mm-hmm.
We always operate with the highest levels of ethical and legal standards. Integrity. Credibility. We are viewed as having unquestioned credibility because our actions draw from years of experience and are grounded in research and rigorous thinking.
Okay.
Credibility.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, going back to Farrakhan, it says, the First Amendment provides that Congress make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting its free exercise. According to the White House, it protects freedom of speech, the press, assembly, and the right to petition the government for a redress of grievances. The website claims that for over 40 years, the defendants have falsely labeled Minister Farrakhan and the Nation of Islam as anti-Semites and us anti-Semitic because of a difference in theological viewpoints and for his pointing out misbehavior of some members of the Jewish community, among others. So they're all about inclusion, working together, standing up, you know, all this stuff. So do y'all remember what happened to this man?
He got blackballed, didn't he?
Yeah, because he made some anti-Semitic remarks. And guess who it came through? The Anti-Defamation League.
Really?
Yeah, Anti-Defamation League. That's who they always go to.
They went after him, they went after Ice Cube.
Oh, yeah, we're going to go through some people. Okay, somebody read this one.
This false labeling has hindered Minister Farrakhan in his mission, which is to deliver the truth taught by the most honorable Elijah Muhammad that will correct the condition of spiritual, mental, and moral death of black men and women of America that came as a result of the 310 years of chattel slavery and over 150 years of oppression and suppression thereafter. Minister Farrakhan and the NOI in bringing this action are keenly aware that good, law-abiding citizens are likewise victims of this mischaracterization, including the late Nelson Mandela, that's true, President Jimmy Carter, Reverend Jesse Jackson, Bishop Desmond Tutu, and many more.
So what happened to this guy?
Oh, you got blackball, Kanye West?
Because he made some anti-Semitic
Yeah.
remarks.
That's what he
So the
said.
ADL got him too.
Anti-Defamation League.
Wow.
It says the defendants have at times indiscriminately and arbitrarily mislabeled countless politicians, entertainers, athletes, authors, educators, public speakers, academians, comedians, and others as being anti-Semites and as anti-Semitic simply because in many instances the speaker did not agree with the defendant's point of view, and in some instances simply because the person made a favorable comment about Minister Farrakhan and or the Nation of Islam.
So you make a nice comment about Mr. Farrakhan.
Because they're his enemy. He's in like they're at odds against each other. Because like we're not Muslims, we're not Islamic, you know. But right is right. They have an organization to where they can be Karens, to put it in the most modern term as I could. Literally.
And you know, nobody was talking about Kanye West anymore.
No, because they took him from being a billionaire, it was worth almost $7 billion to
Yeah.
Nathan, right? Oh yeah, of course, kid, of course. Yeah, because he had to move around. He wanted to get out of it too, but yeah. It says the importance of this case extends far beyond the named plaintiffs. So, and we all know what happened to this man, right? They were trying to crucify that man, right? Yeah. He's on the Dallas Mavericks. He just signed a contract extension. He did. So I didn't put this stuff in there. So certain things that I couldn't get the doggone document to download, like the actual case. So Minister Louis Farrakhan and Nation of Islam have done their research. They looked into like the different definitions of anti-Semitic going way back, and then they started looking into the partnerships that the Anti-Defamation League actually has.
Yeah.
Did y'all know that they actually be training the FBI? They've trained thousands of law enforcement. I'm like, wait, what?
Wow.
Yeah, like, wait, that's a conflict of interest. They are the largest non-governmental, basically, militia or police force.
Wow.
Anti-Defamation League.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy?
What's that?
Like you said, nobody really know who these folks is.
Mm-mm.
But you gotta know power to stop million and billionaires.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You somebody.
Yeah. In history, they used to call it the invisible or the hidden hand.
Yeah.
That's what they are. Hmm. They're who do you think started it? They changed their names, but it's the same thing. So again, there's two seeds, and like the battle lines are being drawn. Like I be looking online, people be die hard for Israel, people be die hard for Islam, right? Then I be looking online and I'm just watching, and like you see all these people getting murdered, the genocide going over in Gaza and Hamas, right? You see grown men saying, Alhamdulillah, all praises to Allah, for they lost their wife, their son, their daughter. They're martyrs now, but they are faithful unto death, and they're willing to take, to literally give up their lives.
So they get martyrdom from that.
Right, because they honor that martyrdom. So in the times we're living in, some of us may have to be faithful unto death.
Yeah.
Remember that, because we're going to end up doing a series on faithful unto death. So it's a whole different level of faithfulness that we're going to have to get to, because we just don't know. We may have to give up our lives so our families can make it. We don't know. But we got to be prepared to do that thing as the men, right? Okay. So to get into today's lesson, we're still talking about two seeds. What is the first thing that you see when you come into a church, looking at the outside, normally? Okay. What's the second thing? Because okay, we're going to deal with that. Since you said that, yeah, don't talk too much, because I don't know if people know about it. Does that look familiar?
Crossing the steeple. Yeah.
The building.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pyramid.
Ain't the church down there?
Oh, that is. Yeah.
On Gulick.
Yeah, First Assembly.
So I just went riding around went riding around in town and I didn't go to everyone just to see, because there's a lot more. So she said it. So I'm gonna ask Jeremiah, what is a steeple?
It's that point at the top, you know.
Yeah, but what is it? Brandon, you know?
You tell me what it look like.
Okay, you know? Okay, okay. So both of y'all probably know. Okay. Okay, yeah, both of y'all probably know, so y'all two don't say anything. So we're gonna be reading from the book Pagan Christianity. Because I told you I've been buying books and reading, a lot of reading, right? Pagan Christianity. Frank Viola and George Bana. Does that look familiar?
Yeah, that's off of Hancock.
You see the steeple on it?
Yeah,
Okay.
with the cross on top of it.
So Brandon, if you don't mind, make sure the mic is on. Please read this.
The steeple. Ever since the inhabitants of Babel erected a tower.
Dude, talk normal. Why you be talking different? Talk normal.
Okay. The steeple. Ever since the inhabitants of Babel erected a tower to reach the heavens, civilizations have followed suit by building structures with pointed tops.
So all this stuff goes back to Babylon. Okay, keep going. So why is it on a church? Keep going.
Well, it's tradition now.
Mhm,
The
mhm.
Babylonians and Egyptians built obelisks and pyramids that reflected their belief that they were progressing toward immortality.
So it,
Pause.
mhm.
Obelisk?
Like the Washington Monument?
Okay.
Mhm.
When Greek philosophy and culture came along, the direction of architecture changed from upward and vertical to downward and horizontal. All of this suggested to the Greek belief in democracy. Human equality, and earth-bound gods.
Right.
However, with the rise of Roman Catholic Church, the practice of crowning buildings with pointed tops reemerged. Toward the end of the Byzantine period, Catholic popes drew inspiration.
Of course, it's with the Catholic Church.
Of course.
The Vatican.
Now, before we even keep going, were we told to be like the nations?
No.
Okay.
You know, you set
So
apart.
Proverbs 3:31 says, "Envy thou not the oppressor, and choose none of his ways." None, not a one. Don't assimilate. Don't do none of that. Don't choose none of that stuff, right?
Just violating the commandments about covenant.
There you go. Exactly. Perfect. Perfect. Look familiar?
Yeah, right there.
There you go. Okay. Keep going.
From the obelisks of ancient Egypt as religious architecture entered the Romanesque period, points began to appear on the surfaces and corners of every cathedral built in the Roman Empire. This trend reached its pinnacle during the era of Gothic architecture with Abbot Sugar's construction of the Cathedral of St. Denis.
So Gothic. We're going to have to talk about Gothic. It's going to be later on, but don't forget about Gothic. So this stuff is also about the doctrine of the Nicolaitans again. All right. Yeah, keep going.
Unlike Greek architecture, the characteristic line of Gothic architecture was vertical to suggest striving upward.
Mhm.
By this time, all throughout Italy, towers began to appear near the entrances of church buildings.
That's what we're seeing.
The towers housed bells to call the people to worship. These towers represented contact between heaven and earth. As the years passed, Gothic architects, with their emphasis on verticality, sought to add a tall spire to every tower. Spires, also called steeples. Spires, also called steeples. Spires is the British Anglican term, were a symbol of man's aspiration to be united with his Creator. In the centuries that followed, the towers grew.
So again, we're learning about this mother of all harlots, this church, right? Jeremiah, read this. Jeremiah 10, verses 1 through 3.
Hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven. For heaven. For the heathen are dismayed at them. For the customs of the people are vain. For one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workmen with the axe.
You know, because you know what's getting ready to happen next month, right? But he says, like, don't learn none of their ways again. That's what the Most High is telling us not to do it. So why all of a sudden is there Gothic architecture in the quote-unquote church, right? That's exactly, because there's two seeds, right? Okay, let's keep going. Does that look familiar? That's on York.
Oh, the one over by 20 Get.
No, the one over here by Dollar General, Family Dollar. Yeah.
If you turn that way and come back down here.
It's over there by Child's Express.
Okay. Okay, it's right behind it, pretty
Mhm.
much, yeah, okay.
Okay, let Bam read that, yeah. Brandon pointed at you, so.
I know W was in there.
Brandon pointed you out, so let's get Bam to read.
Taller and thinner, they eventually became a visual focal point for the architecture. They also reduced in numbers. Yeah, they also reduced in numbers from the double towered westward to the singular spire that so
Characterized.
characterized. I was getting it. The churches of Normandy and Britain. In the year 1666.
What the?
That's a little strange number, isn't it? I thought that was really interesting, right?
That's a weird number.
Okay.
Something happened that changed the course of the tower architecture. A fire swept across the city of London and damaged most of its 87 churches.
Hold on. Does that sound right to y'all? One fire did all that to 87 churches.
It was wild.
No, that story's wild.
Yeah.
It was a wildfire. You can't tame wildfire. Evidence. What's the evidence?
Edifices, just the church.
Sir Christopher Wren, do I say his dates?
No, you don't have to.
Was then commissioned to redesign all the churches of London. This here, man, I'm getting there. Using his own stylistic innovations and modifying the Gothic spires of France.
So nothing but the Most High at all. His own
Yeah.
stylistic, he's modifying the Gothic spires. Okay.
Of France and Germany. Wren created the modern steeple. From that point on, the steeple became a dominant figure of the Anglo-British, right? Anglo-British architecture.
It's really crazy that his first name is Christopher, Christ, right? Christo, actually, literally Christo. Christo, Cretan, right? Okay. So, real quick recap. So what did Christian actually mean? Because they tell us that he's follower of Christ, but what did it actually mean when we went to the definition?
Stupid, dumb.
Idiot, right? It means that you are a deformed
A
idiot,
little black idiot.
Dwarf.
a dwarf deformed
Yeah.
idiot, right?
A little black idiot.
Go ahead.
So I was literally going over the lesson like all week in my head with this, and I said, you know, it's funny because they call Christmas, and what associates with Christmas? Elves.
Yeah.
So I was cracking up, like,
That's funny, yeah.
I was like, wow, what if they got elves for Christmas?
That I didn't even catch that one. Yeah.
And the whole world doing the same thing for Christmas.
Right, and then they're deformed as well.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Think about it. So I was cracking up though.
I mean, but they just laugh in our face with all this stuff because we just don't know.
Right.
Go ahead.
Later the Puritaans.
Puritans, my goodness.
Oh,
Puritaans. Later the Puritaans. Later the Puritans made the church business far simpler than the Catholic and
Anglican.
Anglican predecessors.
Okay.
But they kept the steeple and brought it into the new world of the Americans.
So, trying to be closer to Most High, and they still dealing with these steeples, right? Okay. So since y'all two don't know, does this place look familiar? This is in town also.
That bullshit.
All of these are mainly on the east side.
York Street.
No, what about Whittier?
Over by Whittier. Yep. So this says the message of the steeple is one that contradicts, I'm gonna say, the whole book. Christians do not have to reach into the heavens to find the Most High. He is here. With the coming of Emmanuel, the Most High is with us, and with his resurrection, we have an indwelling master. The steeple defies these realities, right? So we're gonna have to keep going because, like, now this is coming from a Christian perspective, right? So then we go to the Second Corinthians 6, verses 14 through 18. Brandon, go ahead.
We the 2 Corinthians.
You. Come on.
2 Corinthians 6, 14 through 18. Be ye not unequally yoked together with unbelievers.
That's two seeds. A believer and an unbeliever is two seeds. Okay.
For what fellowship hath righteousness with unrighteousness, and what communion hath light with darkness?
I didn't even realize that until you just said that, but okay.
And what concord hath Christ with Belial? agreement had the temple of the Most High with idols. For ye are
So
the
why
temple-
are we having steeples in that thing? We haven't even gone to the definition of a steeple yet, right? Okay, keep going.
For ye are the temple of the living Yahuwah, as Most High said. I will dwell in them and walk in them, and I will be their boy, talk, and I will be their God, and they shall be my people.
Hosea, right?
Boy.
Uh-huh.
Wherefore come out from among them, and be ye separate.
That's
saith
two
the Most
seeds,
High,
two
and
seeds.
touch not the unclean thing, and I will receive you, and will be a father unto you, and ye shall be my sons and daughters, saith the Most High.
So this went back to what the Egyptians and went back to Babel, right? Babylon. You good? You got something to say? Yeah, we're gonna get rid of that. Don't worry about that. Yeah, that's gonna be out of here. I already told her. Ain't no way. That might actually be in the lesson. So now we're gonna go back to the book, Fossilized Customs, right? And Jeremiah, go ahead. So this is what these steeples are, right? This is what they truly are. So you're gonna start from Leviticus 26 and read verse 1.
Do not make idols for yourselves, and do not set up a carved image or a pillar for yourselves, and do not place a stone image in your land to bow down to it, for I am Yahuwah, your Elohim. The pyramid was sacred to many pagan civilizations of history.
So why is it in a church?
I know, makes no
If he's telling us to come out of her and to be separate, that don't make no sense.
Okay. Being the top of an obelisk called a pillar of jealousy in Scripture, which the Israelites
Just say Israelites.
or Israelites would not bow to.
Nope.
It was interpreted as a sun ray,
Sun worship.
but also a male fertility symbol.
Keep going.
It evolved into various religious towers or high places such as steeples or turrets. They all trace back to the ziggurat of Babel.
Now, you know, that's Nimrod, your ziggurat. Nimrod with his rebellion, shooting arrows, trying to, like, oh, like, yeah, I'm gonna kill, oh, I think I killed him because blood came out. Yeah, I got him.
Shoot out with arrows.
Yeah.
That's crazy, bro.
Idiot. That's,
crazy.
yeah,
Lost his mind.
doggone Christian.
Poles, spires, and high structures were always a part of any pagan temple, which Scripture refers to an image in places.
So wait. So, does this one look familiar?
Yeah, 'cause that's on the east side too. That's
Right.
That's
It's over there by, yeah, yep, yeah. So it says that they all trace back to the ziggurat of Babel. Poles, spires, and high places were always part of any pagan temple.
So yeah, a steeple like a little small pyramid, right? So
That's exactly what it looks like.
Yeah.
So
Right there.
why would we put that in a place of worship to the Most High?
Because they seen everybody before them do it.
So they're entering into the way of the heathen.
Yeah.
And then look at the.
Without knowing, a lot of them without knowing it. A lot of them without knowing it.
Because my people are destroyed for,
Like a lot.
huh?
Yeah, like
What came after that? Since you have rejected knowledge, I will,
reject you.
and you won't be a priest unto me, and then I will reject your
Children.
children.
Yeah.
That's what's been happening from generation to generation to generation.
I don't know if you got this in the lesson, but.
I don't. I don't. I can tell you right now. Go ahead.
But like what she just said, but it's like the Most High said it in the Old Testament. The Messiah said it in the New Testament, same way, pretty much.
Mhm.
You know, like you said, like, don't take it away the heathen. But then the Messiah says, beware of the tradition of man. So like you said, you know, it's a tradition. It's the same thing, like, don't take it away the heathen. But this what happened. We took up, they took up the way of the heathen. And now it became tradition because like you said, we don't know. We think we're doing it right.
That's right.
Churches are the same.
Let's pull that closer to you.
Because everybody with their churches are all look the same. It's like same
Yeah.
format. That's what it is.
Universal?
Yeah, universal.
Catholic.
Catholicism.
Catholic.
But even when you try to bring it to their attention that that's wrong,
They get mad.
a lot of them are under that strong illusion because they found out the truth and they were like, oh, no, 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 no.
They try to
And then
downplay
like
it.
convert, and now they're like, oh, that's not the way it is.
They will literally downplay and make up
So-
excuses for it.
So this is actually what us three, we've kind of been talking, actually Brandon too, we've been talking about, like, people can't take no constructive criticism no more. No positive, like, nothing. As soon as you try to bring them truth, they get defensive, they want to fight. Oh, no, not my pastor, not my Jesus, not my church, not none of that. Like, hey, I'm just trying to show you what this stuff goes back to. I'm not trying to convict you. That's not me convicting you. All I can do is give you information. All I can do is plant a seed. That's all I can do.
If you want it to grow, let it grow.
Yeah,
You want it to grow?
if you want a chair to grow with it, then fine. That ain't got, because there's always, in everybody, there's two, like in us, there's two seeds. Which man are we going to live, to the carnal or to the spiritual man? There's, everything's about a seed. That's all, the whole book. And I knew I forgot to put something in there. Doggone it. I forgot to tie it. Okay. But everything's a seed, right? But keep reading, keep going. Just talking about Nimrod.
Him as the sun,
So they were worshiping him as the sun.
which later was represented by the eagle, seen carrying the golden orb of the sun across the sky. Hence our flagpole ornaments.
That's why I looked at it earlier, like, get that out of there.
Nimrod.
Yeah.
So there, and then like the Egyptians kind of adopted it, and then so did the Edomites and Esau. That was also their banner, was that doggone eagle. All of that stuff goes back to Babylon. All that stuff goes back to sun worship, the literal sun.
There's an ornament on Catholic churches. It used to be an eagle, but now it turned into an angel
Mhm.
with a little orb
Uh-huh.
on it or behind it or symbolize. I don't know what it symbolizes, but I'm just like,
That's right.
Yeah, if you look at their architecture, that stuff looks wicked.
They got
Like,
crazy architecture.
yeah.
It's demonic. A lot of it's demonic, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Alright. The eagle seen on the right side of the back of our dollar bill was first adopted by the Babylonians. That's crazy. And this very same pose came to be seen by investigating
Oh.
Ahura Mazda,
Now, wasn't there a company used to call Nelson Nissan Mazda?
Nelson, Nissan, Mazda.
It's interesting.
Persian, Assyrian for wise lord. This was only a title, but it was still Nimrod. They adopted the name Mithras for the sun and used the eagle as its symbol.
Right.
The
Zoroastrians.
also fire worshippers, had priests called Magi, or magicians, which wore the emblem of their deity on their chest.
Now, pay attention to how they dress themselves.
Okay. They wore black garments
Mm.
because they were constantly working with the ashes of the sacred fire. Hence, religious garments of pagans are black.
So, religious garments of pagans are always black.
Black.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
Black.
They're working with fire, ashes.
Okay.
What's going on, bro?
Okay.
What's going on?
So, I'm going to stop right there. Just one thing. Whenever you go to court, what is a judge wearing?
Black.
And does it not look like a witch's robe?
Yeah, this is what- yeah.
Not just the judges though.
Mm-hmm.
That's the priests and the pastors.
Now, see, you caught it. You caught it. Like, especially in like the Roman Catholic Church, all the cardinals and all them wearing all black, like
Yes.
friars. Like, wait, man, what's really going on here? That's wild. Like, okay, keep going.
Okay, well, hence religious garments of pagans are black. Yeshua was told to wear only white linen by Yahuwah.
Right, the priests were white.
These pagan priests made holy water by putting a lit torch of sacred fire into water.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, that's right there, right across the phone with you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's right.
That's deep.
Littered everywhere here. And there's some other ones that I could have went to, but I just chose not to. I was like, I don't want to. Anyway. Huh? Well, there's still so many churches here. There's riding around forever.
What's part of it really?
Just read the highlighted portion.
The image is both concrete and abstract. The old image of the obelisk and the crux are combined together, becoming the pillar or steeple.
So that's what that is,
Yeah.
right? You see it at the bottom, and then you see it at the top. Okay, keep going.
Tradition blinds everyone so that witchcraft is not perceived. Shaitan has programmed religious behavior based on the pattern, former image, of worshiping Nimrod, his wife, and child. This has carried on through cultures over time.
So, rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft. Rebellion is also witchcraft. So, doing these things without doing your research, putting these stuff in the alleged place of worship of the Most High is literal witchcraft. But we were not aware of these things, right? Okay. So we're being made aware, right? So we see that one, right? Okay. So we're gonna learn. Huh? Mm-hmm. Oh, you caught that?
Yeah.
You caught that? Okay. Huh? You,
Okay, so,
you caught that? So these steeples, these pillars, right? They have another name. So Bam was gonna say it earlier. You can go ahead and say what's it called? It's called a what symbol?
Phallic symbol.
Phallic symbol. Okay, so read about Brandon. Read about a phallic symbol. Huh?
Phallus.
Start where it says an object. No, actually, no. Start where it says a phallus. Yeah.
A phallus is
Say it.
a penis.
So these steeples that are on these churches are penises. In case y'all are not aware,
Lord have mercy.
are literal penises.
What?
The worship of the sun, all that male fertility goes back to penis worship.
That makes a lot of sense.
It's all, yeah, connection, yeah.
There's a lot of
That's why I was trying to tell y'all there's two seeds. So they put that in there. You don't even understand that they're planting their seed in you.
An object that resembles a penis or a
Mm-hmm.
mimic
Mm-hmm.
image of an erect penis in art history is a figure with an erect penis is described as
Ithyphallic.
epiphallic. Any object that symbolically
Symbolically.
Any object that symbolically or more precisely iconically resembles a penis may also be referred to as a phallus. However, such objects are more often referred to as being phallic, as in phallic symbols. Such symbols often represent fertility and cultural implications that are associated with the male sexual organ.
Now,
as
you
well
notice
as
this look like a bird, right?
What?
It's not. That's
No,
not a bird.
No, I see this.
It's not a bird. It's not a plane.
I can see it right now.
Yeah, it's not a bird. It's not a plane.
I see the two joints right there, and then the one pointing up.
What is the thing? What is the? I know what it is. I know what I'm looking at. But what is?
Are you sure?
What is it
You
on?
sound confused, huh?
Is that a gavel?
It's flying. It's flying. What are you
But no,
talking
is that a
about?
gavel thing? Is that the thing that they bang the gavel on?
Or a coin or
That could be. No,
That looks like the thing that they bang the gavel on.
that could be. That very well could be.
Oh, alright. Such symbols often represent fertility and cultural implications that are associated with the male sexual organ as well as the male orgasm.
So again, this all goes back to a seed. The male orgasm, phallic symbols, literal penis worship is what these alleged churches are bringing to you, and you have no idea. Because whenever they're there, that's what they're giving their worship to. Like, you come up into this place and you have no idea. Like, they worshiping Nimrod, they don't even know it. A lot of them don't. A lot of people don't.
Yeah,
But a lot of those clergy, a lot of those leadership do know.
right.
So, and like, this is something that I didn't get to put in the lesson. Like, you got to be, like, the scripture tells us to beware of the leaven of the Pharisees. Well, let's take it a step further. We need to be aware of the leaven of the seminary teachers. People that go to these seminary schools and don't tell us the information that I'm trying to show y'all. You got to be wary of that. Because they're teaching from a doctrine from the seminary. So what is the root word of seminary? Semen. Literal semen. So that's a seed. So that's a certain seed that they're trying to implant in you of indoctrination, of Nimrod, of sun worship, worshiping penis.
You want to read that?
Yeah. I definitely want you to read this part because we were talking about last time. Why is it always Greek and why is it always Latin? Why? Why? Read this.
Etymology. The term is a loan word from Latin phallus.
Why Latin? Why do we always go back to Latin?
Itself borrowed from Greek.
What?
Phalos, which is ultimately a derivation from the Proto-Indo-European root braille, to inflate or swell. Compare with Old Norse and modern Icelandic.
That's good. That's good. I just wanted y'all to understand whenever you come into a quote-unquote church or an assembly and you see that type of stuff, that way you know what you're getting into. I'm not saying this stuff for you to go up and start arguing with people and start confusion. I'm just trying to raise all of our consciousness, like all of our awareness, so we can keep striving forward and moving past these little things, right? Because just because they have that does not make us any holier or any better than anybody. We still have to work out our salvation with fear and trembling. I forgot to say this disclaimer. If you're weak in the faith, y'all don't want to watch this series because we're going to be diving into stuff that people don't really want to talk about. Please subscribe, hit that notification bell, like, and share, and comment. But let's keep going. So the crazy thing about this penis worship is, what is Lent?
That's a day, during, they celebrate during Mardi Gras.
Yeah, they have 40 days of Lent, right?
Yeah.
They'll put they'll have a cross on their head and
Wednesday,
all of that stuff, right?
I've never heard of it.
You've never heard of Lent? Yeah.
It's February, it's in February.
Okay. So Brandon, keep reading.
In traditional Greek mythology, Hermes, the god of boundaries and exchange, popularly the messenger god, is considered to be a phallic deity by associating with representations of him on Hermes.
Which are pillars.
Okay, on Hermes pillars featuring a phallus.
Okay, so Hermes is who in today's age? Superhero.
I don't know. You know, I heard that superhero stuff.
The Flash.
Oh,
So yeah, he fired,
Hermes.
I thought
he
he,
had the wings on his feet. Oh,
Hermes.
Flash costume.
Hermes, right? The Flash. Okay, my bad. Keep going.
Okay. What was that?
There.
There is no scholarly consensus on this depiction, and it would be speculation to consider Hermes a fertility god.
What about his son, though?
Pan, son of Hermes, was often depicted as having an exaggerated erect phallus.
So these people that ended up manipulating the direction of the quote-unquote church were into penis worship. That's why when it talks about the son of perdition and when the things come, like, he won't even have a love or care for women.
Look at that on that person's head.
Oh, you can see it?
Yeah.
I was wondering if y'all was going to notice that. I was just trying to keep y'all focused on
It's full of them.
so, but like, that's the thing we got to realize. So when this Elf Mahdi or when this son of perdition shows up, he won't have a love for women. So that means that he loves what?
Yeah, we know.
not me.
Huh?
Stay away from me, bro.
That's why, like, we know, like, all of those dead bodies that was found in the catacombs of the Roman Catholic Church, because they was messing with them little boys. Keep going. Two seeds.
The most of them people in the Catholic Church or the Vatican all mess with boys.
That's why they take a vow of celibacy, but then they're raping the nuns and they're raping little boys. Okay.
Priapus is a Greek god of fertility whose symbol was an exaggerated phallus, the son of Aphrodite and
Dionysus.
According to Homer and most accounts, he is the protector of livestock, fruit plants, gardens, and male genitalia.
He protects the male genitalia.
His name is the origin of the medical term priapism. The city of
Check this out.
The city of Timavos in Greece holds an annual phallus festival.
So every year they have this festival worshiping the penis. I mean, let's just call it what it is. Every year. Okay.
That's kind of like Saturnalia.
Mm-hmm.
A traditional event celebrating the phallus on the first days of Lent.
Lent is tied to that.
What's up?
Oh man.
That's crazy.
But if you're not gonna read Jeremiah, go ahead.
Why would you want to be protecting somebody else's penis like that?
Huh?
What kind of weird stuff is that?
Well, okay, so this is what we were kind of talking about last time. Like, why do you think that the rockets are shaped the way they are?
Like a penis.
Candy bars.
Yeah, it look just like one, especially Snickers. This is weird.
It's like, what?
This is all weird.
You say it's weird?
It's all weird.
And my favorite used to be the freaking the coconut and the two.
The almond joy?
Almond joy.
Ugh. I didn't know nobody ate those. I thought, huh?
How dare you?
Okay, well there's at least three people that like them.
Disgusting.
I can still use English, excuse me.
You don't want coconut. That stuff is nasty.
Continuing the reading.
Yeah, I don't either. Yeah, I'm
The
lazy.
phallus was ubiquitous in ancient Roman culture, particularly in the form of fascinum,
Mhm.
a phallic charm. The ruins of Pompeii produced bronze wind chimes
Mm-hmm.
That featured the phallus often in multiples to ward off the evil eye and other malevolent influences.
So they thought that the power of the penis will ward off evil spirits.
Boy, man, where do you get this
They was real about pushing P.
Man, yeah,
They,
for real.
the church be pushing P, and we ain't even know it.
Wow.
Didn't even know it, pushing P, literally.
Statues of Priapus similarly guarded gardens. Roman boys wore the
Pay attention, pay attention.
Roman boys wore the bulla, an amulet that contained a phallic charm until they formally came of age.
Why? Why is little boys wearing around a penis?
They didn't get messed with.
Tormentor and mentor, if you actually look into the origins of that, them boys was getting raped like he said. Right, keep going.
That's
Sorry, okay. It just, anyway.
what makes the whole civilization want to do weird stuff like that, bro? That's just weird to me.
According to Augustine of Hippo, the cult of Father Liber, who presided over the citizens' entry into political and sexual manhood, involved faith.
Like, why is a father over a man, a boy becoming a man? Father Lieber.
Oh, no.
Phallic deity, mutinous tubinus, promoted marital sex. A sacred phallus was among the objects considered vital to the security of the Roman state.
How? Make that make sense.
Which was in the keeping of the Vestal Virgin. Sexuality in ancient Rome is sometimes been characterized as phallocentric.
So it's penicentric.
Yeah. Wow.
He said, I gotta hand this to you. I can't.
I don't want to read that.
So this is about the church, right?
Yeah.
Phallic symbols. This is about steeples. That's why she's the mother of all harlots.
Boy,
All this penis worship, she got to be a harlot.
this is about my curious people. Boy,
So, like, what does that make y'all think about all this stuff?
it's disgusting, bro. It's disgusting.
Caligula.
It's
There's
disgusting.
a lot of evil hidden in the history.
So, what, Ben? Go ahead. Tell me what it is.
Bottom line, the pastor, priest, Catholic church, the regular church, all church, these folk ain't reading that word.
That's bottom line, because it's in there. All this is in there. Tell you, stop doing this, don't do this, stay with me.
Pick up the book, good people.
But they're not reading that word. I take that back.
They're not teaching from that word.
That either, both.
They're teaching, like you said, seminary.
Seminary.
They're teaching that doctrine.
Yeah. They want to put a seed in you. A seed is going to grow with a tear.
I ain't got no eggs.
Bam, I can't right now. I can't. So, Constantine paganism is the father of the Christian church, right? He's got to be. We're staying in the same vein. We're staying on the same book. Pagan Christianity, right? So, some really good sources are from this book. We've been reading from Fossilized Customs, but there's a lot of stuff in the assembly. That's why we're not part of no doggone church. We're a part of an assembly.
I see the roots.
Huh?
The roots.
You see it? You see it? You see the branches? Yeah, you see it. We're not. So whoever wants to read can go ahead and read.
The creation of sacred spaces and objects.
This is actually also going on in Africa also. But keep going.
In the late 2nd and 3rd centuries, a shift occurred. The Christians began to adopt the pagan view of reverencing the dead.
So now this is after Mashiach. This is after his death, burial, resurrection. 2nd and 3rd century, that would be in the hundreds to 200s, right? Okay.
Their focus was on honoring the memory of the martyrs.
Okay.
So prayers for the saints, which later devolved into prayers to them, began.
Hold on. Are we supposed to be praying to saints?
No, but Catholics do it all the time.
Good.
Saint Paul, Saint.
Because we just read that the Most High, he's the God of the what? The living.
The Christians picked up from the pagans the practice of having meals in honor of the dead. Why?
They do this over in Africa right now. They do, and some of the people that are from Africa that come over here do this stuff right now. I'm telling you because I know from experience.
They also, that's called
What?
Happens all the time.
Yeah.
We do it all the time.
Uh-huh.
After every funeral, what they do?
Uh-huh.
That's right.
Uh-huh.
So it's the same difference. And
Well-
I've learned a lot.
Is the repast considered that though?
Yeah, you honoring the dead.
You pass the
No, I'm just
deed,
there, I'm just there because I'm hungry. I really did not
You
know
can eat at
the
home.
repast before.
I mean,
You
we
can eat at
always
home.
learn though.
Did
Like
not
I
know.
didn't know this until a couple weeks ago. Either I was just like kind of reading on my own. And I was like, literally, you're honoring
yeah,
Literally.
the dead.
Mhm.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
And like in African cultures, they'll literally do it like on the anniversary of the day the person either died or was born. They'll honor a dead person with a big feast, a big meal. Cause like I said, I know from experience. So I'm just keep going though. Keep going. We're gonna learn some more.
Both the Christian funeral and the funeral of the dirge came straight out of paganism in the 3rd century.
So what does that tell you?
That started third century,
What started in the 3rd century?
honoring the dead,
Huh?
honoring the
Right.
dead.
But yeah, what came out of it was the funeral.
Yeah.
So we're gonna pay attention to the funeral, right? Okay, keep going.
3rd century Christians had 2 places for their meetings.
So backstory. So after Mashiach, death, burial, resurrection, 70 AD, the believers in the way were scattered, right? So they wouldn't go to like an assembly like this. They would go inside people's houses, right? That's why it talks about 2 or 3 are gathered. They took that to heart. And then it wasn't until Constantine that these big mega churches, you end up seeing, right? And then there was no more persecution of them, so then they could come, and,
Together.
right, without fear. Okay, keep going.
Okay. Their homes and the cemetery.
What?
Amen.
Wait, read that sentence again. I don't know if y'all caught that.
3rd century Christians had 2 places for their meetings, their homes and the cemetery. So I would never meet at a cemetery. We're not gonna meet in a cemetery. They
Okay.
met in the cemetery because they wished to be close to their dead brother.
Now, don't get me wrong. Every time I go to a cemetery, I go talk to whatever. But keep going.
It was their belief.
Now, again, in the cemetery, right?
in the
Okay.
cemetery. Okay. It was their belief that to share a meal at the cemetery of a martyr was to commemorate him and to worship in his company.
Does that make sense to y'all?
No, so you are worshiping the dead.
Yeah.
Every
Okay.
time.
Keep going. Go ahead. What you gonna say, Brandon?
Day of the dead. You're talking about the Mexican people, Day of the Dead.
Yeah.
Since the bodies of the holy martyrs resided there, Christian burial places came to be viewed as holy spaces.
Even in Africa, where saints or whatever get buried, they consider that a holy place. Okay.
Christians then began to build small monuments over these spaces.
Like what does that sound like to you? Small little monuments?
So what is that?
Kind of sound like headstones to me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Especially over the graves of famous saints. Building a shrine over a burial place and calling it holy was a pagan practice.
So again, conforming to the world instead of being separate is what the church has been doing this whole time, right?
The way of the world.
Circe, right?
Now,
She's
let me
great
ask
at
you-
self-deception. Go ahead.
Because, so, like, when they say it's funeral, right, we like focus on funeral. But it was like the Christian funeral and the funeral of the Doge. So, is it the fact that we need to be focused on the funeral itself or the way they did funeral?
I would say the way they were doing it, because like as we keep reading, you'll start seeing what I'm saying.
Okay. Well, you know, because I was thinking about this on the way here. Because like I said, you know, we know people that have been here, but like, I feel like this content is for believers and people that need to come into the way to learn. It can get real confusing, right? But as I was coming in, I'm sorry to throw it out, but I'm like, there's a lot of things that people do that's just things. It's not technically a wicked thing because
Right.
that wicked man done it. You know what I mean? So that's not what we're saying. Like you can't. I don't like I said this for the viewers or whatever. It's not that how to say it. I don't know how funerals and things work, but I'm just saying like you know it's not that you can't bury your loved one and you can't miss your loved one.
Yeah, there ain't nobody saying that.
It's just the way, the tradition of certain things. Because granted, we all gotta eat, like, a lot of people, like the holidays, you know, of course, holidays are a big feast thing. I eat every day. So,
Yeah.
holiday don't make me eat, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like I said, so it's, because I know Thanksgiving coming up, a lot of people, you know, some people fast on Thanksgiving, however.
No, I'm gonna eat, but
I'm gonna eat.
I'm not eating no turkey and none of that other stuff. No, I'm not
But
doing that.
I like turkey. But I'm just saying, like
I'm
I
not
said,
eating it
so
on that day.
the way these people do things, like they're not like, we can't get too caught up to, oh, you did this, so I'm gonna do this. So I'm gonna tell you something, Jeffrey Dahmer, he ate people, but he breathing, so I'm gonna stop breathing because he ate people.
Hey,
No.
hey, and you look like his type too.
Oh, God.
You.
I'm everybody type, that don't mean that. But nah, I just want, like I said, for the viewers' sake, like, we're not coming against the normal things that people do, it's just the way they go about doing things. Some things that we didn't do as a people.
Yep.
So just pay attention to the specifics and not like the broad things.
And it's also good to ask questions because a lot of people go to quote unquote church or assembly and then they have questions. They don't ask the questions to the leadership, to the pastor, to whoever. You need to be asking questions and you need to be doing your own research, period. Don't take my own words for it. Do your own research. Like, I'm just a man trying to get it right just like everybody else, right? But keep going. Go ahead.
In Rome, the Christians began to decorate the catacombs, underground burial places, with Christian symbols.
Right?
So art became associated with sacred spaces.
Right. So the Romans started that, right? Okay.
Clement of Alexandria was one of the first Christians advocating visual arts and worship.
He's one of the alleged church fathers. Okay.
At about the 2nd century, Christians began to venerate the bones of the saints.
So this what starts to happen. Once you let stuff creep in, you start to worship these things, right? Okay.
Regarding them as holy and sacred. This eventually gave birth to relic collecting. Reverence for the dead was the most powerful community forming force in the Roman Empire. Now the Christians were absorbing it into their own faith.
Because we were
Followers.
right when we were just merging.
Yeah.
We weren't thinking. We weren't in our book. You know what I'm saying? Like the stuff just be tradition. Like
Trying to unite.
yeah, just trying to be universal. Just trying to go with the flow, right? So again, so now we're going like the first church buildings, right? Constantine. It says following Helena. Now Helena was Constantine's mother. Trip to Jerusalem in AD 327. Constantine began erecting the first church buildings throughout the Roman Empire. Yeah, you caught that. Some at public expense. In doing so, he followed the path of the pagans in constructing temples to honor God. So that's what he was all about, making the temple to God like every other temple out there, right? And then it says, interestingly, he named his church buildings after saints. He makes them after the order of pagans, but he names them after saints, right? That makes a lot of sense, right? He's not double-minded at all. That's 2 C's to being a double mind. Just as the pagans named their temples after their gods. Constantine built his first church buildings upon the cemeteries where the Christians held meals for the dead.
Wow, dude, that's still weird. That's even more weird.
A lot of people don't realize a lot of the churches now are built on cemeteries, or there's a cemetery right next to it.
Or, I was just thinking that, or they buried on the church ground. Pretty much same.
Yeah.
And like you said, the name like the saints, St. Paul, old St. Paul, St. John, St. Peter.
And that's not even who they were. Like they were Greek or Roman gods, and they just switched them to a saint's name to make people like be okay with it. Well, this was to Jupiter, but we're going to say this is St. Paul or St. Peter. Right. Right. Exactly. So, again, it says Constantine built his first church buildings upon the cemeteries where the Christians held meals for the dead saints. So, were they conversing with these dead saints, right? Eating, So, whenever you get to eating stuff, that's you coming into what?
Community.
Which is a
Covenant.
covenant, right? Don't even realize that. Go ahead.
What, hypothetical,
Okay.
Catholics are the only ones who can cast out demons.
Says who?
That's just the general.
Boy, you've been watching too much of The Exorcist.
That's just the general consensus.
Yeah.
General consensus.
And they can only use the Latin language for it, right?
Yeah. That, the dead
Yeah.
language, see, going back to dead, right? So these people were conversing with the dead,
Uh-huh.
worshiping the dead.
Uh-huh.
What if
What if what?
all the demons they're dealing with are the things that they were worshiping? And they can never
That's
correct.
definitely what it is. They have no idea
That's just
though.
something they just didn't think
No, you're right. Like, cause like you look at the I'm not gonna say Bible. You look at the Megillah or the the Sefer, right, the book, and you start looking at where it says groves, cemeteries, all this and that. The Most High, He talks about that. Like, I know you be going to these cemeteries and you be, sacrificing and burning incense to these other gods. He warns us against all that type of stuff. But again, when we don't read our books ourselves, we don't know nothing. I mean, that's the only way we can put it. We just don't know. Then it says, why? Because for at least a century beforehand, the burial places of the saints were considered holy places. So they crept that in, and then that seed started to grow. And the next thing you know, well, they ready for it. Oh, they ready? Let's just build a temple over these dead bodies. On bodies, though. Literal, man. So then, okay, so again, what does the book say about the dead? Bam, if you don't mind reading this, we're going to go to Mark 12.
The book of Mark, Mark 12, 24 to 27. And the Messiah answering said unto them, do ye not therefore err? That means error.
Mm-hmm.
Because ye know not the scriptures, neither the power of Yah.
That's why it's imperative we get in there for ourselves and learn, right?
But when they shall rise from the dead, they neither marry nor give in marriage, but are as the angels which are in heaven.
Talking about the resurrection, right?
And as touching the dead,
Uh-oh.
that they rise, have ye not read in the book of Moses, how in the bush Yah spoke unto him, saying, I am Yah of Abraham, and the Yah of Isaac, and the Yah of Jacob. He is not the Yah of the dead, but the Yah of the living. Ye therefore do greatly err.
So like culturally, somebody would die, and you would have 30 days to mourn. And they'd be buried wherever they was buried. But nowadays, which we're about to get into it, everything is just backwards. This church has got everything up on its head. Everything is backwards, right? So we're going to go to Numbers 19.
Got everything on his feet.
Boy. Numbers 19. Somebody read verses 10 through 22 for me.
And he that gathereth the ashes of the heifer shall wash his clothes, and be unclean until the evening. Until the evening, yeah. And it shall be unto the children of Israel, and unto the stranger that sojourneth among them, for a statute forever.
Now check this out. Read the next verse.
Oh, okay. He that toucheth the dead body of any man shall be unclean 7 days.
So explain to me how we have funerals with the dead body in the actual church.
It's tradition. It's been going up all along.
How does that make sense?
I know.
Okay, keep reading, man.
He shall purify himself with it on the 3rd day.
That would be what we call quote unquote Tuesday.
And on the 7th day he shall be clean. But if he purify not himself the 3rd day, in the 7th day he shall not be clean.
Did y'all know anything about any of this?
No, I've never heard any of this in person. Alright. Whosoever toucheth the dead body of any man that is dead, and purifieth not himself, defileth the tabernacle of the Lord. Wow.
Do y'all think that's a good thing?
Wow.
So you're building a church over dead bodies, unclean. Dead bodies are unclean. Or you're having a funeral service in a church, unclean. All the people that's touching it, unclean. Now, we know that the Most High, His Son is our sacrifice. But do we know that if you're going something like that, you need to be purifying by repenting? Because that's an unclean thing? Or is it just me? Am I the only one seeing that?
Say it again. My mind was going.
No, say what's on your mind. Say what's on your mind.
Like what you said, I'm just thinking, I'm like, man, because we know about like eating the unclean, and like he said, that's an abomination, and he give you 24 hours, but touching the dead body, you gotta wait 24 hours.
But even in churches now, nobody touches the dead body.
How come they don't?
They ask it.
When they say they're following.
I'm glad you said they touched the casket. Nobody touches their body. I'm glad you said
But
that.
they
Remember
do,
that.
though, because, think about it, when they have an open casket, when
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
but
kiss
you
Mama
have
Cat.
people that do it,
I kiss
and
Mama
then-
Cat. Yeah.
And it's crazy because when they do that, they'll go hug their loved ones. Now that person's unclean.
Uh-oh.
That person's
That's a
unclean.
vicious cycle.
Now they just spreading uncleanness.
That's a
Yeah,
vicious
gotta think
cycle.
about it like that.
And so,
What about the mortician and the staff at the house?
You think it matters where the dead body's at?
And it's okay. So touch the dead. That's 7 days, right? 7, as he put it, 24 hours.
Mhm.
So morticians deal with it daily.
Mhm.
So
They're never clean, man. They're never clean.
They have to
And if they
repent.
haven't
The Most High
done it
knows that
by
that's
the
your job, but you
7
got to
days,
repent. The thing is about that is repentance. Like, again, we go to these funeral services and we're mourning the dead, this and that. Do we know that we should be purifying ourselves by, because again, the Messiah, he died for our sins, right? So we should still be bathing anyway and repenting just to make sure, like, hey, I know that this makes me unclean before you. So a lot of things that we do is unclean anyway. We should be repenting daily anyway.
and I was just gonna
But
say,
if it's not in the habit, then 3rd and 7th, for sure, you go to a funeral. 3rd and 7th. Because again, like a lot of people didn't know this stuff. I'm like, well, it's in there.
I've ever seen nobody with a dead person at the funeral. They haven't realized it.
Boy, a lot of people, bro. Like every funeral.
I've not been to
I've been to a lot of funerals.
Ain't no way, and you ain't seen nobody too.
He wasn't paying attention.
He was asleep.
Yeah, he was.
Stay woke, my brother.
So keep going.
Okay. Whosoever toucheth the dead body of any man that is dead, and purifieth not himself, defileth the tabernacle of the Lord. And that soul shall be cut off from Israel.
Oh, so it's just for play. He don't mean that.
Wow.
He don't mean.
That's why I asked about
The
'cause I read
mortician.
ahead, and that's why I asked about morticians because
The Most High, he's smarter than all of us combined. And he knows if that's your job, that it is what it is, but you still got to work on your relationship with the Most High. You got to be mortifying your members and dying daily. That should be a norm. But for people where it's not a norm, and the haven't come into the, what were we talking about? Ever learning, but
Never seeking the truth.
not coming into the full knowledge of the truth, right? That's what happens, and we don't even realize. So that's why the whole Christian church movement, like, it's so foreign once you actually get in here. Like, yo, what going on? What happened? Keep going.
Because the water of separation was not sprinkled upon him, he shall be unclean. His uncleanness is yet upon him. This is the law. When a man dieth in a tent,
So a man dies somewhere in his house or something, right?
all that come into the tent. Oh wow.
Go ahead, Jeremiah. No. What was that question you asked a minute ago? What was that question you just asked? You just asked the question. You just asked the question. You just asked the question. I want you to finish. Now I want you to read this. Now, first I want you to re-ask the question, and then I want you to read it. I want you to re-ask the question and then read it. That's the most. That ain't me. That's the Most High.
I said I've never seen nobody touch a dead body at a funeral.
And then, like, one of y'all said something to the effect of, well, everybody. Well, it wouldn't make everybody.
Except for the casket. Except for the casket.
Okay. So read this whole thing.
This is the law. When a man dieth in a tent, all that come into the tent, and all that is in the tent shall be unclean for 7 days.
Lord, now.
Right?
So
You mean to tell me all these funerals I've been to, bro, I've been unclean this whole time?
wait, no,
7 days. Yeah, hand it to him. Hand it to him.
Oh.
it says when a man dies in the tent.
Mm-hmm.
So when
Even
my,
when you're dead, you
when
still
my
die.
grandpa passed away in the house,
Yeah.
he passed away at the house.
Anybody, anything,
went
and
in
anything
the
in that house, right?
Not where the body was taken. That's
But-
different.
But still, if you so who goes to
Everybody goes to the funeral
okay,
around
and
the
then
house.
and then also you got to remember the context of what we were reading from the pagan Christianity. Most of the churches were built over what? Cemeteries. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's why you got to stay prayed up and you got to repent. Like,
It's a daily thing.
Yeah, that's what Paul say. What he say, die yourself, pretty much. die
mortify
yourself.
your members.
Yeah,
It's the
mortify.
God
same
damn.
concept with a woman. Like, it's the dead body is the same concept when a woman's on her cycle.
Yeah.
Your sheets is dirty, your bed is dirty, you're dirty,
Your
you're
house
on a
dirty.
cycle. Your house is dirty, you gotta repeat, she gotta repeat.
Anybody that touches her is unclean.
When that person dies, you dirty, the house is dirty, the sheets is dirty, everything is
Yeah,
dirty.
dirty.
It's just dirty, right? Same
Now
concept.
see, but like I said, so
But see, like that's why you said you gotta always get ready. And you know what? The Most High, like you say, He's smarter than all of us. The whole duty of man is to do what? To serve Him.
To seek the kingdom.
And to what? Keep his commandments.
So that's a for sure way. You know, I'm gonna get my glory anyhow. Because like I said, everything we do, no matter what we try to do, we are unclean until we leave the earth.
Mm-hmm.
This pastors and preachers, somebody have said, we gonna be in sin until we actually leave this place.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way to get away from it. However,
We have a Savior.
like you said, mortify your members daily.
Boy.
Continuously pray.
Mm-hmm.
Pray without ceasing.
Mm-hmm.
Look to find truth and not knowledge.
Diligently seek him.
Diligently seek Him. You know what I mean? So if you're doing these things, you hit everything on it. I'm praying, I'm talking to Him, I'm asking for forgiveness, repenting on the daily. That's why it's important to repent daily. And people think this, like you said, they think it's a game. Like, no, this system is set up for you to fail. However, you got a scapegoat,
Mm-hmm. Literally.
but you gotta choose. Like you said, it's your choice. My bad.
No, go ahead. You're going to read this. Numbers 31, 19 through 21.
I thought I was-
Or 22.
And do ye abide without the camp 7 days. Whosoever hath killed any person, and whosoever hath touched any slain,
So somebody that either kills somebody or you touch a dead body, right? A slain body, okay.
purify both yourselves and your captives on the 3rd day and on the 7th.
So it's pretty consistent, okay.
And purify all the raiment,
Mm-hmm.
and all that is made of skin, and all works of goat's hair, and all that is made of wood,
You got to purify everything.
everything. And that's Eleazar, right?
Mhm.
And Eleazar the priest said unto the men of war, which went into the battle, this is the ordinance of the law which Yahweh commanded Moses.
Right?
So even in war, like, you still got them.
Yep.
And every open vessel which have no covering bound upon it is unclean.
Yo.
And whosoever touches one of the slain with a sword in the open fields, or a dead body, or a bone of a man, or a grave, shall be unclean 7 days.
So like you said, even in war, right? Okay. Keep
Even
going.
the grave, so he's like, man, he already in the ground.
Bro, and graves are what? Cemeteries. That's what I'm saying. Like,
So why we can't go to the cemetery?
you just unclean.
And for an unclean person, they shall take off the ashes of the burnt heifer of purification for sin, and running water shall be put in therein in the vessel.
So, and then, go ahead.
So the burnt ashes. Okay, gotcha. Never mind.
Oh, so in order to like to subvert that, you have to get a clean person to do this next portion. Go ahead.
And a clean person shall take the
Hyssop.
hyssop. What is the hyssop?
I forget right now.
And dip it in water, and sprinkle it upon the tent, and upon the vessels, and upon the persons that were in there, and upon them that touched a bone, or one slain, or one dead, or a grave.
So that's where like the Roman Catholic Church constantly gets where they do their baptism and sprinkling and all this other type of stuff. Everything that they got, they steal. Like, they don't come up with nothing. Like, well, I mean, they come up with stuff, but it's usually stolen from somebody else.
Yeah. So let's actually get, like you said, get them back. I got it.
Ah, gotcha. Okay. Okay, go ahead.
And you got,
And the clean person shall sprinkle upon the unclean on the 3rd day, and on the 7th day. And on the 7th day he shall purify himself, and wash his clothes, and bathe himself in water, and shall be clean at even. But the man that shall be unclean, and shall not purify himself, that soul shall be cut off from among the congregation,
You see how serious the Most High is about
Yeah.
this?
because he hath defiled the sanctuary of the Lord. The water of separation hath not been sprinkled upon him. He is unclean. And it shall be a
Perpetual.
perpetual statute upon him, that he hath sprinkled the water of separation shall wash his clothes. And he that toucheth the water of separation shall be unclean until
Now
evening.
check this last verse out.
And whatsoever the unclean person toucheth shall be unclean.
So anything they touch.
And the soul that toucheth it shall be unclean until evening.
So the Most High is all about us being as pure as we can possibly be. Again, praying daily, repenting daily, working out your salvation with fear and trembling. I'm just trying to show y'all what the book say about that. And I should have put more stuff about groves.
Can I ask you one question?
Go ahead.
Because I'm glad you said that, because, like right when you said it was a lot about washing. So the fact that the Messiah came and he's been dipped in blood, he cleansed us for the most part. Is our cleansing process the repenting and the praying?
Absolutely, but I would still wash.
Is that
Yeah,
still
don't not wash though. Don't
Somebody said wash and pray.
say what. Of course, it's always having that repentant heart, that circumcised heart. So that is our sacrifice. 'Cause we don't have to sacrifice a red heifer no more. But
And it was like putting the ashes of the heifer in the water, right?
with hyssop, yeah, with hyssop. But like now, it's more
His
about
soap, gotcha, his soap.
have mercy. That's not what I said. I did not say that. I promise you, I did not say that. All right, Numbers 5, last one, verses 1 through 4. And Yahuwah spake unto Moshe, saying, Command the children of Israel that they put out of the camp every leper, and every one that hath an issue, just in case I wasn't for sure about the other one, and whosoever is defiled by the dead. What does that mean, defiled by the dead? It means you touched the dead. But he said to put out of the camp. What does that mean?
So,
Make them go out the sticks, out of the woods.
So why do dead bodies be in a church though? That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. No. Both male and female shall you put out, without the camp shall you put them, that they defile not their camps, in the midst whereof I dwell. And the children of Israel did so, and put them outside the camp. As Yahuwah spake unto Moses, so did the children of Israel. So dead bodies aren't supposed to be, like, we're coming here to worship the Most High, this thing. Dead bodies ain't supposed to be in here. Point blank period. You can't get around that. So it says, powers that they had once ascribed to the gods of paganism. The Christians adopted this view completely, talking about the changes of Constantine and all that. What?
Man, all these centuries we've had funerals at church, bro. That's crazy.
The most famous Christian holy places were St. Peter's on the Vatican Hill, built over the supposed tomb of Peter, St. Paul's outside the walls, built over the supposed tomb of Paul, the dazzling and astonishing church of the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem, built over the alleged tomb of Christ, yeah, and the church of the Nativity in Bethlehem, built over. Now check this out, because a lot of people don't realize this, because I talked to you about it the other day. It says built over the supposed cave of Jesus' birth. A lot of people don't realize that. Like the oldest texts talk about how he was born in a cave in Ethiopia, because like in Ethiopia they have a whole different Bethlehem. Like they have different they have more ancient maps and everything, because we know that they've done a lot of trickery. And then it says Constantine built 9 churches in Rome and many others in Jerusalem, Bethlehem, and Constantinople. So what?
There's so much deception. I mean, because think about Tulsa,
Yeah.
the massacre,
Mm-hmm.
and how they built the city on top of that, and so many graves underneath it.
You got old
And
Tulsa
they
and
wonder
Tulsa.
why it's so corrupted right now. It was only gonna last so long. I mean, it's unclean.
Yeah, and like especially like you talking about like that Tulsa massacre that they did. Like you got to realize like that innocent blood is crying out to the Most High, just like that whole Oklahoma City bombing. Like you walk past these certain places and you can just feel it. Like, oh man, yo, these people like died before their time, right? So again, like we're talking about the first church building. While we wrap this up, it says because the church building was regarded as sacred, congregants had to undergo a purification ritual before entering. Okay, so that sounds good then, right? So in the 4th century, fountains were erected in the courtyard so the Christians could wash before they entered the building. But they're still dead bodies though. Like, well, anyway, Constantine's church buildings were spacious and magnificent edifices that were said to be worthy of an emperor. They were so splendid that his pagan contemporaries observed that these huge buildings imitated the structure of pagan temples, right? Literally. Constantine even decorated the new church buildings with pagan art. The church edifices built under Constantine were patterned exactly after the model of the basilica. These were the common government buildings. So they were built after governments too. Buildings designed after Greek pagan temples. Basilicas served the same function as high school auditoriums do today. They were wonderfully seated for seating passive and docile crowds to watch a performance. Do we ever really want to be docile?
Yeah.
That's what happens when people go to church. You want to hear what the pastor has to say. And half the time you don't even know what he said. I don't know what he said, but it sounded good. Because you're passive and docile. Go ahead. Okay. To watch a performance. This was one of the reasons why Constantine chose the Basilica model, because he knew what he was doing. Now, under this model, the elders and the deacons sat on either side in a semicircle. The hierarchical distinction embedded in the basilican architecture was unmistakable. So they will be elevated. That's when you start getting into the traditions of the elders. Even like a quote unquote pulpit, like their stuff will be so high that like you would just, it's almost be like you looking up to the Most High, like, oh man, I'm looking up to all these people. It talks about, interestingly, now this is the doctrine of the Nicolaitans, lording over people. Interestingly, most present day church buildings have special chairs for the pastors, they're elderly, for the pastors and his staff situated on the platform behind the pulpit. Like the bishop's throne, the pastor's chair is usually the largest of them all. All of this is a clear carryover from the pagan basilica. Literally, the traditions just keep going, right? In addition to all of this, Constantine did not destroy pagan temples on a large scale, so he didn't even destroy them. Neither did he close them. In some places, existing pagan temples were emptied of their idols and converted into Christian edifices. So a lot of these churches were pagan first, and he just switched it over. All right, man, we're going to call you St. Peter, Jupiter. Yeah, you are converted. You are now Christianized.
You are not a Christian.
That makes sense?
So, like I was about to comment, and I said I wasn't going to. Yeah, there's a lot of get down and lay down.
Facts.
I was wondering, it was a while back though, like I was at church, I'm not sure if it was when I was going to or I was at someone else's church, but there was, they didn't even call themselves, they gave themselves titles, they were just teachers. And they refused to go into the pulpit. They was like, I don't teach in pulpits, I teach at the same level
Yeah.
as you guys. Because, and they didn't of course go into the definition of why, they just said, I refuse to go into the pulpit, and they sat out there with us, and they taught, they leveled up us as well.
Disclaimer, if anybody wants to see over here, y'all have at it. I don't care about none of that. I'm not better than nobody. Point blank, period. Let's get that out there right now. Right here, right now. I'm not better than nobody. It says, the Christians use materials. So let me read that again. Neither did he close them. In some places, existing pagan temples were emptied of their idols and converted into Christian edifices. The Christians used materials stripped from pagan temples and built new churches on pagan temple sites. So then they used the stuff that they took out to build it.
Because they blessed it.
It's Christianized now.
I think we was reading the script one time.
Thank you, Jesus.
And some, when they did that, when they went to the got the spoils of the war, a lot of times the most, like, if it was to be burned, he burned it and purified it. But for the most part, he burned it up and like don't use it.
Yeah, that's it. Like, yeah, none of
A
that.
lot of the time, sometimes like you say, he let the people have the spoils, but for the most
But he
part,
wouldn't use it to to build an assembly. Oh no.
But like I said, he wouldn't even let them. I was like, for the most part, when I was reading, he wouldn't even let them have it. Yeah, y'all had a land, burn everything else. What about the not burn up them steaks too? Burn them.
Burning grass
The
too?
chicken, burn them. Them kids, burn them.
Yeah, don't listen to him. Yeah, don't listen to him. He allowed out to.
So like, it's like and it's just like the tradition of it now. Like
I keep
a
cutting that
lot
off.
of people say, "Cause I mean, it's French,"
Uh-huh.
but he did it. Like you say, he act like he was doing a good thing. He probably thought he was doing a good thing. Maybe, maybe not. But you build it on top of the dead.
And then you build it
Then
with
you
the
build
stuff
a
that you stripped
fountain
it.
on top of the dead. Like you said, then you got the stuff that you took.
No, because it said he built it after the prototype of the pagan temples. So he knew what he was doing. I ain't giving him no benefit. I ain't giving him no benefit.
Well, just to the people, y'all may be thinking y'all doing a good thing, but clearly, because the Bible reads where it is.
Yeah, just research. Just do your own research. Don't take nobody's word for it.
We're not coming against anybody, it's just spreading truth and knowledge of the truth.
That's it. So, is what he's talking about building over pagan sites and then using the stuff that you stripped to build it? Is that what we were commanded to do?
No.
No.
Okay. Just making sure we all on the same page. It says, as one Catholic scholar wrote, with the coming of Constantine, various customs of ancient Roman culture flowed into the Christian liturgy. Oh, that's Christian or leadership in your church or whatever. Even the ceremonies involved in the ancient worship of the emperor as a deity found their way into the church's worship, only in their secularized form, right? So then you worship in Constantine. Constantine brought peace for all Christians. Under his reign, the Christian faith had become legitimate. In fact, it had risen to a status greater than Judaism and paganism, right? Then it says, for these reasons, the Christians saw Constantine's rise to emperor as an act of God. Now, around this time, you're talking in the 300s BC, so that's the 4th century AD, AD. Most of the Christian church is Gentile. Because we know that there were Yahudim, Nazarenes or Natsarim that were still like keeping the law, the prophets, and the quote-unquote New Testament, right? But they weren't a part of the quote-unquote Christian church, and then they were forced to become a part of it later. Okay. For these reasons, God's instrument who had come to their rescue, Christianity and Roman culture were now melded together. The Christian building demonstrates that the church, whether she wanted it or not, had entered into a close alliance with pagan culture. As Will Durant, the author of The Story of Civilization, sweeping, he had an 11-volume work or whatever, it says, that earned him a Pulitzer, put it, pagan isles remained in the spreading of the Christian sea. So all is paganism. This was a tragic shift from the primitive simplicity that the Church of Jesus Christ first knew. The first century Christians were opposed to the world systems and avoided any contact with paganism, right? This all changed during the 4th century when the church emerged as a public institution in the world and began to absorb and Christianize pagan religious ideas and practices. As one historian put it, church buildings took the place of temples, which temples were sex orgies places, right? Church endowments replaced temple lands and funds. Under Constantine, tax-exempt status was granted for all church property. So all that stuff started almost 2,000 years ago. 501c3, that was way back then with Constantine. Consequently, the story of the church building is the sad saga of Christianity borrowing from the heathen culture and radically changing or transforming the face of our faith. To put it bluntly, the church, I think we're going to stop at this slide. No, church buildings of the Constantinian and post-Constantinian era essentially became holy shrines. The Christians embraced the concept of the physical temple, yada, yada. Okay, I'm just going to jump down. It says the church building was borrowed from pagan culture. Dignified and sacramental ritual had entered the church services by way of mysteries, the pagan cults, and was justified, like so many other things, by reference to the Old Testament. So they would try to use the quote-unquote Old Testament to justify all these things, is what they're saying. So real quick, so what do y'all remember about the doctrine of the Nicolaitans, or Nicolaitans? Do y'all remember, like, okay, so it was chiefly, so the guy's name was Nicolaus. He was a proselyte. He was a deacon at one of the first churches, first of the 7 assemblies, we'll say that, right? He was a deacon. And basically they were convincing people to eat things sacrificed to idols, right? Also, they would convince people to come and in these assemblies and start having sexual orgies also. But Nicolaus went back to meaning lording over. It also goes back to mind control and about a hierarchical system, just like the Roman Catholic Church set up to where nobody, that's why they would speak in Latin, because the normal layperson wouldn't be able to read it. So you would have to go to a priest, right? That's what the doctrine of Nicolaitan is. So it goes again to mind control and lording over. Jamal, if you don't mind, read this.
The evolution of church architecture. Following the Constantinian era, church buildings passed through various stages. They are too complex for us to detail here. To quote one scholar, changes in church architecture are the result of mutation rather than a steady line of evolution.
Mutation is good.
No.
Okay, keep going.
These mutations did little to change the dominant architectural features that fostered a monopolizing clergy and an inert congregation. Let's quickly survey the evolution of church architecture. After Constantine, Christian architecture passed from the Basilica phase to the Byzantine phase. Byzantine churches had wide central domes and decorative icons and mosaics. Byzantine architecture was followed by Romanistic architecture.
Mm-hmm.
Romanistic buildings were characterized by a three-story elevation, massive pillars supporting round arches, and colorful interiors.
Mm-hmm. Colors.
This form of building arose shortly after Charlemagne became emperor of the Holy Roman Empire on Christmas Day, AD 800.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Following the Romanistic period was the Gothic era of the 12th century. Gothic architecture gave rise to the spellbinding Gothic cathedrals with their cross-ribbed vaults, pointed arches, and flying buttresses.
Okay, I got a question. Spellbinding?
Spellbinding, yeah. So it's no good, bruh.
Spellbinding. So what does that mean?
That would be putting spells. Spells. Witchcraft.
Read this.
Spellbind. Okay. To bind by or as if by spell. 1795. Probably a back formation from spellbound. So yeah. Spellbinding, spellbinder, one who fascinates. Okay. A spellbinding image or sound is one that is so fascinating that you can think about nothing else.
So what's a more modern term for that we use when we're watching something that's really good? We're getting
Obsession.
entertainment.
Oh, yeah,
Spellbinding. You can't focus on nothing else, right?
Or obsession.
Yeah.
Yeah, obsession, yeah. Synonyms: fascinating, exciting, gripping, thrilling. Yeah. Spellbinding, holding the attention as if by a spell.
So
Yeah.
why would you want to come to a place that's so spellbinding when you come in to sit down? You're not focusing on worship or the word, are you? You're being held by a spell. I saw that, I was like, that's interesting. And that happened in the what era? It wasn't the Constantine, it wasn't the Roman Empire,
Gothic.
the Gothic.
Yeah.
Gothic. Okay, keep going.
Term cathedral is derived from cathedra. It is the building that houses the cathedral, the bishop's chair.
Now that's like, so they would be on this pulpit. It's almost like a judge's seat, and then the bishop that's going to give the sermon would have this big lofty chair that everyone can see, all eyes on him.
Yeah.
That's what that bishop's chair is, right? It's all about him. It's the doctrine of the tradition of the elders, right? Go ahead.
Colored glass was first introduced to church buildings in the 6th century by Gregory of Tours, 538 through 594. The glass was set into the narrow windows of some Romanistic churches. Sugar, abbot of Saint Denis, took colored glass to another level. He adorned the glass with sacred paintings. He thus became the first to use stained glass windows in church buildings, placing them in his Gothic cathedral.
So with this spell binding stuff, you got to realize this stuff is actually witchcraft.
Yep.
Because of like the pictures, the paintings, and then changing the images, like iconoclasm, phallic worship, all this stuff is literal witchcraft. So you go to these places, you see steeples, you see these painted glass, you got to have your antennas up like, wait, what am I stepping into? I'm not trying to be bound by a spell, right? Okay, keep going.
Great panels of tinted glass came to fill the walls of Gothic churches to emit brilliant, bright colored light. Rich and dark colors were also employed to create the effect of the New Jerusalem.
Mm-hmm.
The stained glass windows of the 12th and 13th centuries have rarely been equaled in their beauty and quality. With their dazzling colors, stained glass windows effectively created a soulless
Do y'all know Plato?
Yeah.
Who was Plato?
He was a playwright.
Yeah.
I can't hear you.
He was a playwright.
Playwright, yeah. He's, some people call him like the father of philosophy, something like that, maybe potentially. But can y'all answer that question? What does the church have to do with Plato?
He wrote a lot of the Bible. I guess. I don't know. That's like just I don't know.
Okay, just asking. Just asking. If you don't know. Okay. So it says, sense of majesty and splendor, talking about these magnificent church buildings, right? So now you're taking the focus off of the Most High and repenting of sins, and you're just basking in the ambiance of this place, right? They induced feelings associated with the worship of a mighty, fear-inspiring God. With the Constantinian basilicas, the root of the Gothic cathedral, here we go again, is completely pagan. Gothic architecture relied heavily on the teachings of the pagan Greek philosopher Plato. Plato taught that sound, color, and light have lofty mystical meanings. They can induce moods and help bring one closer to the eternal good, which is where they get the word God. The Gothic designers took Plato's teachings and set them to brick and stone. They created awe-inspiring lighting to elicit a sense of overwhelming splendor and worship. So what they're doing is they're actually setting you up for mind control. Literally, right?
He gave him the definition of what to do.
Right. Then it says color is one of the most powerful emotive factors available. Thus, the Gothic stained glass windows were employed skillfully to create a sense of mystery and transcendence, drawing inspiration from the grandiose statues and towers of ancient Egypt. What's that got to do with the Most High?
Nothing at all.
How?
Nothing.
How, Craig? Gothic architecture sought to recapture the sense of the sublime through its exaggerated heights, lofty, right? Balconies, all that good stuff. Now it says, it was said of the Gothic structure that the whole building seems chained to the earth in fixed flight. It rises like an exhalation from the soil. No architecture so spiritualizes, refines, and casts heavenward the substance which it handles. It was the ultimate symbol of heaven joining the earth. No, it wasn't. So with it, its use of light, color, and excessive height, the Gothic cathedral fostered a sense of mystery, transcendence, and awe. All of these features were borrowed from Plato and passed off as Christian. Because again, with mind control, because that's what the governments use.
Oh,
You stop at a red light, you go at a green light. Whenever the cops come, you see that red, white, and blue. Same color as the flag. It's mind control. We're going to stop there. I have more, but we're going to stop there. Did that make sense?
Yeah.
Good? Okay. Jamal, pray us out. Come on. Come on. Come on.
Oh, man. All right. Dear God, we thank you for the knowledge we have learned today. I pray that all of us remember what we've been learning and learn how to, use it in our everyday life. We can learn how to retain this information and use it and seek our own knowledge. We learn it here, but we also do our own research in our everyday life. I pray that everybody has a good weekend and we have a good Shabbat. All these things we ask in Jesus' name I pray. Or Yeshua's name I pray. Amen.
Come on. So again, Traditions of Men series, we're going to keep going next time. Please like, share, subscribe. Peace, family. So
And that was good.
I didn't know how it was going to turn out, but I'm glad. I'm glad about that.